Hey, HappiDaze here. In today's video, we are doing PvP battles for this upcoming season. This upcoming GP season is your normal 15-win season. So I'm combining basically 4 days of videos into one big video. So sorry, things have been kind of busy after the Blitz battle, so I haven't had a chance to kind of do individual daily battles of the battles that we've done so far. So again, this will just be the first 4 days worth of battles. Before we get into the actual content itself, let's take a look at the rule set, see what the rule set is for this season. So open it up real quick. We can basically see that this season, Quick gets, of course, the CT speed increase. Of course, the new units that we just got for kind of the global anniversary, as well as the new unit that we had in the Rumble shop there as well, who's kind of like the S-Hawk for quick units. We just, they're really boosting that quick type. Of course, the downside to that is that with every increase of stuff has to go down as well, right? So for this season, DEX GP burst leaders get -2, which is kind of crazy. So if you're facing Kaidos or anything like that, like, it's going to be super easy to beat them. Strength type get -1, so the Luffy that we just got not long ago, of course, will be a pretty big hindrance there for him. But they do give a increase to slashers and shooters for CT as well. So that'll be interesting. If there's a lot of slash teams going around, you'll probably see a lot of CT speed going kind of nuts. So it's going to be a fun season, of course, when we get through these battles. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get into the first set of battles. Like I said, I'll speed up these battles a little bit just so that you guys don't have to watch just a lot of time just kind of slowly trickling along. So hopefully with the increased speed of the battles themselves, we'll get through these 12 fights really quick. As you can see, I'm at 12 out of 12, so that's great. I'll have a video out tomorrow with the final day matches. I just haven't had a chance to do those yet. But yeah, just keep an eye out for those. And yeah, let's get right into the first match and see what happens. Alright, so for the first match, we are going to go ahead and take on this DEX Kaido captain. As we mentioned, the DEX GP burst captain's got -2 for this season. Means he should only be able to do, I believe he has 3 charge bursts. So I believe he'll only be able to do 1, maybe potentially 2. I forget if he has 4 or 3 charge bursts. But this will just make it kind of easy for us to go through. Of course, because they have a DEX team up front, and we see that, that's why we have our strength team going first. So we can go ahead and get the just massive destruction power of the Luffy here. Of course, we spent one more level win rate poster to get our Kuma up to level win rate 4, so we can now kick out 2 debuff style units in addition to the damage and defense that he does. So that's awesome. We love to see that. We are leveraging the new Buggy here. So Buggy will end up reducing the CT of both DEX and Slasher units here. So that's great for us. It means that we'll be able to get our specials off before Lucci, for example, gets his off, or Kaido really gets his off, and just makes it a lot easier. So you can see, like, we literally just steamrolled through them. So that's the good news. So far, nothing kind of is scary on this first team here. We're, of course, now in the stage where we have to kind of wait for our specials to get ready to go again. We did take the little bit of the burst there from Kaido. That's not a bad thing because it's basically just charging our burst gauge, right? So we won't need to use our special here just because we have the type advantage, right? We still have 3 units on the bench. There's nothing that these 3 units can do to kind of threaten our ability to go. So even though the Kaido does have the debuff for this season, typically what I like to do is go in with the team that I know can definitely win that first match. Don't use a special, and that way, at a minimum, you have 2 specials to use for 1 stage, and it just makes it really easy. Of course, with everyone running strength teams for the season, you're probably going to want to make sure you have 1 special burst for the strength team. They are, as I mentioned a million times before, glass cannon, so if you can get 1 INT G5 Luffy burst off, you can pretty much take out most of them before they even get a chance to attack you, which just makes it a lot easier to get the run done. And you're going to see a lot of strength units because of the buffs we've done the last couple months here. So that's the good news for us. You can see Luffy just came in, he ended that real quick, and made short work of that first battle. Of course, we see that they have a quick team in the second slot, it looks like, with the Magellan and Smoothie and a couple of those units there. We didn't build a DEX team ourselves, mostly because our third team that we have is really the Free Spirit team. And really the purpose of having that Free Spirit team as our third team is that if we have to face a captain that does a lot of crazy bursts that doesn't have the GP burst reduction, like for example another INT G5 or maybe like a side G5, those kind of units, having a team that can take 2 bursts with the Free Spirit plus Otama, like, will make it so you can kind of go into that third match. Again, my game plan is always try to win that first match without using a special, and then if you can kind of eat or tank those 2 specials with the Free Spirit team in the second team with whatever that is, then basically, you know, you have 2 specials against their 0 specials, and that should be an easy win no matter what you do. So that's kind of the strategy that I've been doing for the last bunch of seasons, and it's worked out really well so far. So yeah, we're gonna keep using that. They do have S-Hawk on their bench. Obviously, you can do damage to defense. Have to watch out. We do have the Yamato on our side though, which is good. She can end up killing, you know, 2 units if she happens to die. If not, she can get off her 7500 attack and then still, you know, do that again when she dies. But Luffy comes in, just absolutely decimates. Yamato's gonna pretty much wrap this up here, and boom, just like that, we're able to get our first win of the GP season. We like it. We don't have to even go to that third match. Obviously, the rewards get progressively better, so the rewards aren't great for the first win, but it is what it is. So let's take a look at match number 2 now. For match number 2, let's see who we have for our leaders. So yeah, I think out of all these, obviously you have PSY Luffy or Strength Luffy are the preferable ones to take here. I could have done either one. Obviously, the Strength Luffy would have had the -1 GP cooldown, but I just felt like with the PSY Luffy, he gets his burst charge by doing damage. I knew 100% that basically with our Strength team going first against your DEX team, they're not going to get the damage they need to get their burst gauge charged. So what you can kind of do is a strategy that I've used before, where in essence, if you know you're going to take a burst on the second stage, if you try to get your burst gauge charged before they get theirs kicked off at the start of the fight, then basically you can use your special, they'll kick off their special, and then you can use your special right after, right? And 2 INT G5 Luffy specials back to back will pretty much take out whatever team you're facing. So it works really well, and because of the, you know, the desperation of them to be able to get through the content and beat you, if they have to, or if they charge their burst gauge for that second fight, if you win the first one, they'll use that second burst right away, and then worst case scenario, you could save your burst and have a one ready for fight number 3. So we'll see what happens here. Like I said, because they don't really have the ability to do much damage here, I'll probably be able to take them out pretty easily without doing too much. Now we're just kind of really waiting for the rest of our units to get ready. The Kobe here will give a ton of CP increase. You'll have to see that. And basically Kuma's going to end up just doing a ton of damage here. Boom. There you go. Kuma was able to take them out himself, and that's why he's insanely awesome. So for the second fight here, it's basically a PSY versus INT matchup. Nothing kind of too crazy here. And it's not even like the full Free Spirit team. It's kind of like a PSY slasher team almost, right? They get the increased buff this season. So it seems like this person just put, you know, some PSY slashers and Free Spirit on his team. That way they can just kind of get that benefits from the cooldown reduction. Unfortunately for them, we have the Blackberry, where if you have 5 powerhouse units on your squad, just gives a ton of CT down to your opponent, so it just kind of helps you get through here. Of course, with this team, we don't have the Nami Karina because we have her on our Free Spirit team, so the downside is usually her and Blackberry go back-to-back almost most of the time, and that will pretty much rewind all specials. Of course, we don't have that, so unfortunately, we don't get that benefit. So we have Sabo in here just given, you know, a bunch of CT. He hastes 1 unit as well, so it kind of works out really well. We do trigger one of the revives, that's good. We always hate this Odin just because of his ability to do the special bind and the lock. Luckily, he hit, but he didn't lock anyone, so that was like literally the best case scenario of what could have happened. And basically, once Luffy goes here, like there's really nothing they can do. They're not going to get enough damage to charge their burst gauge, I don't think. Worst case, if they do, we can just charge ours like right after and just end it right there. But yeah, it should pretty much end right here. Just 1 or 2 more hits, and it's game over. And that's why the INT Luffy is so much better as a GP leader than the PSY Luffy, because it's so much easier to take damage than it is to deal damage. Especially if you know what team you're facing, you can really manipulate that, and that's kind of what we did for that second fight there. So there we go. 2 wins gives us our second win of the day. Love to see that. So let's go ahead and take a look at match number 3. See what's going on there. All right, so for match number 3, to wrap up at day 1 of these fights, let's take a look at what we got. Just because I see that that DEX team up front, I really want to just destroy this DEX team with the Strength team. It just makes it so much easier. They do have the Strength G5 Luffy as their leader. I forget what he does. I don't think he does really much. And on top of that, he gets the reduction of the -1 from the from the rule set, right? So pretty much no matter what, even if he gets one burst, it'll just be basically 2 bursts versus 1. It will absolutely decimate for this first fight again. This team is a little bit bulkier because it has the Sandlon Wolf on it, which we didn't see in kind of the first couple fights that we did there. So of course he gives the team a bunch of bulk, so it's a pain to get through him. But at least with the Gear 5 Luffy there, he should really help us kind of get through that a lot easier. Big Mom can obviously do some shots there. Same thing with the Ace unit, but you can see like Kuma's just like, nope, I'm just gonna kick out 3 of you. There's nothing you can do. Hopefully we get our Luffy boosted to the top here once Kobe goes, but he's just going to give a bunch of CT reduction to our units and just let us go a little bit faster. Perfect. Luffy goes right up to the front. Damage to defense just absolutely decimates anyone who's left. It would be a little bit better if I could actually take some damage here. I'm not really taking much damage from any of the units, so that's kind of the painful part there. My special is not really getting charged, which is good and bad. Second team here, I think this is a slasher team. Is it Dex or is it sorry, is it Quick or Slasher? Yeah, it's kind of a hodgepodge of teams. Couple slashers, but yeah, it's just kind of a random mismatch of different units and things like that on there. So again, we won't have a problem getting through this. Really, the only painful part of this Free Spirit team is that it takes a little bit of time to get the damage going. So typically, what I do is use the Luffy and the Roger Early-Gaban to do kind of the key damage. To get the real damage from Roger Early-Gaban, I take 2 specials to fully charge his Super Burst there. So that's just a little bit of a pain waiting for that, but it is what it is. We did get some special bind there, which is a little bit unfortunate, but because we can do some special rewind, it's not the end of the world. They do have a Nami Karina on their side, so that's kind of just a pain to deal with. But this is why we have the Otama on our crew. We did get our special burst cage ready, so I just want to kind of get through this as quick as I could. So we used that burst, kicked out a couple people, took a little bit of a shot here, which kind of is what it is. But again, the advantage here of taking that shot is our burst gauge is already halfway charged again, right? Which is crazy. If they kill the rest of the front line, it will definitely be charged again. We can use our special, and in that case, I didn't have to use it just because our units are kind of crazy. We have a fully max Zoro, so his counter is like absolutely ridiculous, and he'll probably hit back for like 4K, right? Which is just an insane counter. So yeah, with that, we only had to use 1 special. Boom, we got through the first day of Grand Party, got 3 out of 3 wins. You'd love to see that. Again, use the community strategy so everyone gets wins. So look at what some of the day 2 matches look like now. Alright, so let's begin the day 2 matches, starting with the first match here. Let's see who we get matched up against. Again, 2 side G5 Luffys, so could have taken on any one of them. I see that Dex team up front, and it just makes me want to just go through this team, just because it's so much easier. Once you get that first win with your 2 specials, it's basically over at that point. So we are facing the Dex Luffy leader there, the evolved Dex Luffy leader. He doesn't really do too much. He gives some buffs, of course, to the Dex teams. But because he gets the -2 to his GP burst, it's pretty much the same as a rare leader. Like, he won't be able to really do anything to us. Again, all we're really doing here is just waiting till we get the Luffy special and the Kuma special, and then once they go, it lights everything up. Of course, Jack does a 50% HP cut, which just makes it that much easier. And boom, Luffy's just gonna literally just melt through everyone. Doesn't matter about the revive. We pretty much just kind of zoomed right through that. Backbench comes in, nothing they can really do at this point. We do get the 6,000 fixed damage, which obviously because we had side advantage only was 3,000, so that was great. And then we get the haste from Kobe to be able to kind of get our specials ready to go. Kuma hits, absolute monster at level limit break 4, which is why you can see I used one of my level limit break posters to get him there. And boom, just like that, we're ready to go. I'm just gonna skip this so we don't have to wait for all our specials to get charged again to really go, because the team doesn't do like that much damage themselves. So battle number 2 here, it looks like it's mostly going to be a slasher team here, not like the crazy super duper slasher team, but you have actually it's kind of a mixed team. It doesn't have a lot of slashers on there. More like a Psy Free Spirit type team, it looks like, with the Garp and the Law and the Yamacho there. Again, they don't really have much defense on their side, so it should be pretty easy to get through this pretty quick. The biggest difficulty here is just making sure that we can get our S-Off special off, getting the Luffy special off, and then Yamato to kind of clean up in case there's anything left, and of course she's the Kamikaze attack, worst case scenario. We did put the Nami Karina back on this team just for the time being, just to kind of switch it up a little bit, just to make sure that we had enough kind of firepower to kind of get through that. Before she was on the free spare team, as you'll see as I go through the different days, I kind of changed this back. I swapped her place on the free spirit team with Sanji, just so that we could basically, get the guaranteed win, right? With this team, with the cooldown reduction from the Blackbeard, plus a special rewind from the Nami and Karina. If you have Luffy, S-Hawk go, and then use a burst, like, no team is going to be able to survive that, and it's game over at that point. So, you'll see, this is kind of what I went with for a couple days. You can see Luffy just decimated everyone himself. So yeah, pretty good, pretty easy way to go ahead and get through that. And boom, we got our first win for the day. Got us up to 4 wins total. Love to see that. So let's get into the day 2 matches. Match number 2. All right, so for battle number 5, our second battle of the second day, let's see who we get. Of course, in this case, we're just going to take on probably the Rekka Toy Soldier here. Actually, no. You know what? Let's do the Luffy. I didn't notice that there was a DEX team up front. Of course, this just kind of show you, because we have retries, we don't have to kind of worry too much about dying if we don't have to, but just to make it a little bit more spicy, let's go ahead and take on a match that has that Luffy as the leader. Of course, he'll probably get his special gauge charged on by the end of this first match. I don't expect him to use it, even though sometimes the AI is kind of wonky and will actually use their special right away, even if it doesn't really make sense and there's not really much chance that they're going to win. But yeah, we'll be able to kill them either way. Best case scenario, if they use it in Fight 1, then basically they only have one more for Fight 2. We'll win Fight 1 without a challenge there, and then we can have our Free Spirit team tank that second special for Fight 2, and then just destroy whatever that final team is with one special advantage there. So as you can see, boom, Luffy goes. He takes out pretty much 5 units himself, which is fantastic. Like that, and that was before Jack was even to do his HP cut. Boom, you can see we end up taking the shot there. And sorry, we're gonna actually have 2 specials for the final match, because we're just gonna basically let our team in the middle here take the brunt of the attack for fight number 2. Because they can't afford to lose it, they'll use their burst as soon as it's ready. Of course, like I said, it's going to take a little bit for that to happen, just because this team, doesn't have a ton of offensive output, and that's why Otama is in this slot instead of, for example, the Odin and his Scabbard units. And yeah, you can see, boom, we took it off that, so now they have no more bursts. We have 2, or technically we only have 1, but we'll get the second one if we take any real damage on that final match. So that's kind of my strategy. So as long as you win that first match without using a burst, at that point it's really easy to go into that final match with 2 bursts. Yeah, with this team, with this strength team, there's really nothing they can do. They don't have the Jack, they don't have the Kobe. They do have the Kuma on the back bench. You guess you have to be a little bit worried about that, but that's the whole point of having the special ready to go. If they happen to have that Kuma come in, if he does the special damage, we'll basically have our gauge charged right away, use it again, and pretty much end the match. By the time their specials are ready to go, everyone in the back bench should be in there. Yep, and now everyone from the back bench is in. So if we use our special one more time, everyone's dead, right? And we still have the kamikaze attack from the Yamato unit there. So again, we have absolutely no fear about losing this. Just chugging along here, almost got it. S-Hawk just wipes out 3 units himself. Luffy's the only one who's there. And at this point, it's just nothing that they can do to really fight back. So obviously this strategy worked really well for the first couple days. When you get towards the end of Grand Party, where you can't see who the teams are, you can maybe only see what team the leader's on. It becomes a little bit trickier, of course. So just keep that in mind as you're going through. But that gets us to 5 wins so far. 1 more to get 6 out of 6, complete day number 2. So let's get into the final match of the day, see if we can get 6 out of 6. So for the final fight of the day, let's see what leaders we get. Okay, yeah, I don't have a quick team. Sorry, a DEX team. If I had a DEX team, I would probably feel better facing that team at the bottom. But again, this is a team against the Luffy. I think that's actually not the strength Luffy. That's the Luffy Kaido, I believe the DEX. Sorry, the quick Luffy. So yeah, he doesn't get any negative GP burst this season because it's only the DEX version that does. So yeah, first fight is against Cross Guild. Again, I don't have a DEX team. I could have changed the team to be a DEX team to take them on, but frankly, like I didn't feel like changing teams, to be honest. So we're just keeping it kind of how it is. Of course, we get some special bind, or special rewind, I should say, from the Cross Guild unit there. And we're just going to take some damage here. But like I said, with this team, we should be able to do just a ton of damage. I'm not really too concerned. And if we have to use a burst, like we can. That's not the end of the world here. S-Hawk's about to go. 30% HP cut doesn't really do much when you're already low HP. But like I said, we use a special here just so we can basically, one, take out pretty much their whole front line. And two, we know we have type advantage going into the final battle. So as long as we win this battle here, it really doesn't matter what happens. You know, we'll continue to just get our burst gauge charged for the final match. We're going to take the shot from the Luffy here. Might wipe out the whole front line, we'll see. Unfortunately, they didn't take out Yamato. That would have actually been a little bit better for me. Because she would have then kicked off her special to take out 3 of them. But it is what it is, right? Yeah, we lost Luffy, we lost those guys, but still, with our units left, like, there's nothing they can really do to kind of stop us at that point, and it's just an easy win here at that point now to hopefully wrap up day number 2. So we're probably just going to end up skipping the second match. I don't think I want to chance using a burst and not having a burst going into the final match there. Again, it's the strength team versus our team. Now, the benefit here is that if you use a burst against a strength team, like I said, you can pretty much take them out mostly yourself. But it's risky. It's definitely a risky maneuver, and if we know that we have kind of a good type advantage going into the last match, this is going to hurt. Yeah, so we got our special charge. We're not going to waste it here. Again, this is just a sacrificial team, just so we can kind of get to the final match. We have the type advantage in that final match with our strength versus their dex. We get the buggy cooldown against their dex units, and we have a burst. Like, there's just no way they can beat us with that. Again, they don't have like a crazy tanky team on here either, so it actually works out really well for us. So we're just going to pretty much wait till our specials are probably starting to charge. And then right before, or maybe right after the Jack goes, or Luffy, we'll use it just to kind of wrap up and finish up anyone who's there. But it should be a pretty easy way to get the W there. 2 back-to-back Luffy captains, which aren't easy, but yeah, here we go. We'll use one of our specials there. You can see we kicked out a bunch of people, which is great. Hopefully the back units will all come to the bench right when Kuma and Luffy are ready to go, and it'll just pretty much seal their fate from that point forward. Nothing really too crazy there. Perfect. Yep, so there you go. That's how we take out that Luffy. We end up going 6 for 6 so far. Wrap up day number 2. You love to see that. Alright, so let's start getting into the next day's matches. So, of course, that is wins 7 through 9. So, yeah, let's go ahead and take a look at those next day's matches and see how we go. Before the start of the third day, let's take a look at what leaders we have. So immediately I see Dex in the front of the PSY Luffy captain up top there. Of course, they have the INT team at the back. So basically the game plan here, obviously use our strength team to kind of melt through them here. Again, the PSY Luffy gets his burst gauge charged by doing damage. So we know that in the first match, they're not going to be able to do much because of the type advantage that we have against them. And then depending how things go, we could actually switch around and move the INT team that we have up to slot number 2. And then, you know, use our burst first, and then if they then charge their burst and use it again, we can use ours pretty much right after that, right? So that's kind of the game plan. That way we don't have to kind of really worry about that third match. Don't have to worry about the strength team there. So yeah, let's just go ahead and hopefully quickly get through this. Once Kuma goes and once Luffy goes, it's pretty much over at that point. Kick out a couple people there. Buggy just doing some delay and some damage to himself, which is kind of funny. But yeah, we'll have to kind of wait till Bullet and Luffy go here, and then we should be in a really good spot. Let's see. Yep, there we go. Pretty much took out their whole line there. Good thing for us is that taking the damage, we'll just make sure that when we take the burst in round 2, that we're basically able to go. But yeah, you can see, like, we got our burst gauge like pretty good charge. They didn't do much damage to us. So yeah, we're in really good shape there. So as I mentioned, we're gonna have our int team go second, just so we can kind of get through this. Yeah, obviously it's not ideal because it's a side team here, but it kind of is what it is, right? We get some of the powerhouse debuff from that law unit there. Obviously the Shanks gives them a bunch of shields, but once you get through like the front line, like their back line is not scary at all. So yeah, basically if we can get through these top 5, like it should be a pretty easy win from that point. We'll get our burst gauge charged first, so as I mentioned, we'll use our burst first. Let them then use their burst, and then ours will be mostly charged, ready to deliver a second shot, and pretty much end it right there. Blackbeard, though, coming in, just giving some special reverse there. Unfortunately, Shanks was able to get his attack off there. You can see we did take some damage, but the real kind of heavy damage dealer on this team will probably be when that Luffy goes. So let's just see if we can maybe haste one unit to the front here. Maybe S-Hawk. He was already at the front. Yeah, so we're just going to do some damage through defense, which is good. Law's gonna do some fixed damage there, but like I said, this is probably where our charge gauge is just about there. Another hit or two and we'll have it ready to go. Definitely from here we'll have it ready. So let's go ahead and use it, and that will in turn charge their burst gauge, and then they'll use it right back at us. So let's see. Yep, there we go. Was expecting it to get used right back at us. Unfortunately, our Yamato was bound, so that means that her kamikaze attack doesn't kick off, which is just a giant pain. But like I said, like the 3 units on their back line are not going to stand up to a Luffy burst with pretty much 0 defense on their side. So yeah, it looked a lot closer than it was because we lost a bunch of units on our front line. But in reality, like we were able to get through that pretty easily, pretty quickly. Get the first win for day 3, which is great. Get to 7 wins. So let's go ahead and start looking at match number 2 for day 3 and see what we got. So for the second battle of day 3, again, we get a bunch of captains. We could took either the Kaido at the bottom there, you know, or the Law in the middle. But I wanted to actually take on the Strength Luffy. Of course, they only get 1 burst. That makes it a lot easier for us if they use it. Obviously, I see that DEX team in the middle, so I know I can get the easy win there. So basically, the game strategy here is go in with the int team first. See if we can't kill them. It'd be great if they use their special on the first battle. In some ways, right? The Strength Luffy special there does do a ton of damage to int teams, which of course this first team is. But ideally, what we'd like to be able to do is see if we're able to get our specials off, you know, and not have their special go off this match. We'll see what ends up happening, if that actually works or not. In terms of units that can do a lot of damage on this team, obviously the Roger Ellie Gabani can do some damage, Strength Luffy can do some damage, so we do kind of have to be a little bit careful there. With the Sabo in here instead of Nami and Karina, it's obviously a little bit scarier in terms of what can happen, but pretty much we go on here. We got our int Luffy to go. He kicked out 2 units himself there. S-Hawk will do that damage to defense. Still not enough to really take anyone out yet, but hopefully once the Yamato goes, she'll take out 2 herself. We did get the haste there from the Sabo, which allowed us to do some damage there, let Yamato go and get some damage as well. We're going to take a pretty nasty shot here. Yeah, like you can see, you know, we want to win that first match because we know that DEX is second and they don't have another burst now because they used their first burst here. So we're just going to go ahead and do that. Obviously, Yamato is going to do her attack here. The kamikaze attack ends up taking out 2 units with that. And at that point, like, there's nothing they can do here. Now it's basically 3 against 6, and our guys are just much better than they are at that point. So yeah, at this point, there's nothing they can do to kind of win. Once Pell goes, that will probably be the end of the line there, and then they don't have any bursts, and then we have type advantage going into match number 2, which is just what you like to see. That's kind of an ideal situation there, and hopefully that will allow us to get a nice quick win, get up to 8 wins out of 9 for the day, and just put us in a really good spot to go 9 out of 9. So let's just quickly go through this. Obviously you have the Usopp to do some special reverse there. You have the Pizarro as well, who just gives a bunch of defense and bulk to this team. So yeah, we'll see what happens. Of course, like I said, the buggy giving the -5 CT to DEX units is super helpful for all these fights where we're fighting DEX units, because DEX units are very, very plentiful, as you can see from all the different teams that are going on. Do the HP cut with Jack, the HP cut. Luffy's gonna go. He's gonna absolutely just demolish everyone, and then it'll be pretty much GG's from that point on. Unfortunately, it would have been better if some of the backbench came in before Kuma went. Would have just done a lot more damage, but still, like, that's a wrap at this point. It's 8 versus 3. We just go ahead and skip just to save some time there because it's a pretty long video because we're doing 4 days into one giant video. And boom, just like that, we get our 8th win for the day, one more closer to 9 out of 9. So let's go ahead and take a look at what that final match of the day looks like. For the final match of the day, it looks like we are getting all rare recruit captains. Awesome. So I haven't mentioned it that much in this video, but as always, and as you probably see me do as well, at the end of the day, when you are done, please make sure you set your captain to a non-burst captain. That way you can just help everyone get to 15 out of 15 wins. The community strategy just helps everyone to make sure they can get the max rewards there. And it doesn't take anything except 2 seconds to switch teams at the end of the day, just to make sure everyone can kind of get the max rewards there. So that being said, we're going to go ahead and go into this first match. Again, Dex versus Strength. We're going to absolutely blow them away. Nothing to worry about. They don't have a burst, so they don't have like a lot of cooldown or anything like that. So it should be pretty easy for us to pretty much wrap this up as soon as both the Kuma and the Luffy go. It'll be kind of the end of the story there. Got some special CT from Kobe there. You'd love to see that. But this is where the real fun begins. Bunch of damage there. Luckily for us, some back bench units came in, so that means when Luffy goes, like, he's gonna just absolutely hammer these guys. Useless special CC rewind, but still appreciated from Buggy there. And boom, you can see, like, we just pretty much wiped out everyone without too much of a problem. Just gotta clean up the last 2 units here. We can skip because we don't have to sit here and just wait for specials to get recharged again to do that. But you can see, match number 1 was super easy thanks to the ability of having a rare recruit captain. So yeah, going into match number 2, it is the INT team, it looks like, versus our Free Spirit team. So again, what I really would like to do is just, you know, charge the burst gauge here, so that way we have 2 charges going into the final battle. But just depending if we're able to beat them here, we might just use the burst here. As I said, this team's not really like super offensively focused. It's much more focused on healing and being able to take 2 bursts. So that kind of is what it is. We're gonna do some special rewind here to the rest of the units. So yeah, we'll see what happens here. Zoro is gonna do his special, get his guard up, and just do an absolute ton of damage. Unfortunately, because we haven't took any real shots yet because of the special revive from Nami Karina, we didn't get the super ability of the Roger Gabon. It's fine. It is what it is. And at this point now, we're really just waiting because there's not a ton of offensive capability. We're really relying on that Zoro to do a counter to do a bunch of damage. You can see we just took out Kid there. Our burst gauge is about halfway charged. So we're just kind of waiting here. Should hopefully get the rest of the way here. And we'll just use our burst because there's no reason not to. We've already took out a couple of their units, and this should just allow us to really just take out the rest super easy. Boom, able to get 9 out of 9 for day number 3. Wrap it up, 1 step closer to getting 15 total wins for the season. So yeah, that being said, that is day 3 complete. Let's go ahead and start getting into the day 4 matches. All right, day 4, we're almost there, guys. I know it's a lot of matches, a lot of PvP. In this case, we're going to go ahead and take on that Kaido team in the middle here. Again, they get the GP burst reduction because of the rule set for the season. I see the Dex team right up front, so we'll have our strength team kind of take them out. And then it should be easy peasy from that point forward. So yeah, let's get right into the match here. Not a scary Dex team at all. So yeah, obviously with the Brook has the ability to do a revive for one of the units there. So you do have to kind of watch out a little bit for that. But because of the offensive power that we have with both the Kuma and the Luffy, there's really not much they can do there. So let's just see if Jack is able to hopefully get his special off before Luffy and Kuma do. That way we can kind of do the most damage or inflict the most damage there. Unfortunately, Kuma was not able to. So it looks like Luffy and Kuma are going to go first before Jack, unfortunately. Which just means that we don't get the 50% HP cut. It's not the end of the world. Doesn't really change the end fact of anything. It just would have been a little bit quicker if we could have just took them all out with one shot if we got Jack to go before. But again, not the end of the world. Kobe's going to go give our special CP back. Of course, Jack's going to go and give the 50% HP cut. But it doesn't really mean much because our units don't have their specials ready to go. In the meantime, we'll just take a couple more shots from Dofi here, just to basically allow us to get our burst gauge charged. You can see we're just a hair below ready to go. And that means that the next time that the burst charge goes for their team, we'll be in an absolutely awesome spot. Just waiting to use the special here. We do get the shield because of the low HP of Kobe, so you love to see a shield. That's always awesome. And boom, just like that, we're able to get through the first match. For the second match, it looks like, I think it's a quick team, based on what I'm seeing there. Is that a quick team? No, it's not a quick team. It's kind of almost like a powerhouse team, it looks like. Again, we should be able to kind of plow through them pretty easily with the INT team that we have here. Again, we have the Sabo in the place of the Nami and Karina, just because I don't need him. It would have been better if I could use my special first. Unfortunately, because their special was ready at the end of the last match, and they didn't use it, they get their special on first. But at this point, I was just wondering whether I just want to save it for the third match, so I'd have 2 bursts for the third match. But then I was like, nope, you know what? I can take out these guys pretty easily. It shouldn't be too bad. Once the S-Hawk unit goes, like, he'll take out a couple himself. Once Luffy goes, he'll take out a couple himself. So I really wasn't worried. If they somehow managed to do some real hits with, like, the Kingman, for example, then it just fills the burst gauge, right? And I can use it again, and it'd be perfect. But didn't really have to worry about that. S-Hawk came out, just did a bunch of damage there. Unfortunately, Luffy just missed out on going, so it looks like the Yamato unit will probably miss out on going too. So yeah, it's just waiting for specials to basically be ready to go. There we are. That's awesome. Before Don Shinjao was able to get his confusion off there. So picture perfect for the first win for the 4th day. Gets us up to 10 wins, 1 step closer to 12 and to getting max rewards for day 4. So yeah, let's go into the second match of day 4. For the second match of day 4, let's go ahead and take on. We can either take on that Luffy or the Blue Jam up there. I think I'm just gonna take him on just because it's an easy win there. We know obviously their Psy Free Spirit team kind of is up front there, so we're not gonna do like too much crazy shenanigans here. I think we're gonna have our INT team go first, even though they have a little bit of a type disadvantage there. And we don't want our strength team to go in the middle slot, just because that's where they're gonna have their quick team, and we don't feel like changing our team loadout to have a DEX team to take them on. So with that being said, like I said, we'll take on this first fight with the INT team. Hopefully get the win. If we have to use a burst, we use a burst. Obviously, the Otama makes it a little bit annoying because she can do a heal. The Nami and Karina can obviously do the special rewind, which is, of course, just annoying. So yeah, kind of the goal here is to be able to hopefully take out that Otama as soon as we can, and then be able to kind of, just skip that second match and then take on, the final match with whatever team we have. We know it won't be a quick team, which is really the only team that the strength team is really kind of scared about. So I think we'll be in a good shot here. We're gonna do a little bit of a shot from Sabo as well as a haste. That couldn't have been better. It ended up hasting the S-Hawk to the front. We did get Luffy to already do his revive, so that should make it like super easy at this point. Their back bench isn't really great either, so as long as they can kind of kill the front line, should be pretty easy. Here's an annoying bind from Odin, but again, he lucked out, only got really applied to 1 unit. Blackbeard comes in with special rewind, some damage over time. We're going to take a little bit of a shot here, like I said, not the end of the world, and then our Luffy's going to have his chance to kind of do the same thing. We take out the Nami and Karina, we take out the Otama, and it just makes it a lot easier to kind of deal with the units that are there. Yamato's going to go do, she won't do the full 7,500 shots because of the type disadvantage there, but still she'll do a little bit of a hit here. You can see she didn't get the full hit there, but still enough to really kind of do a bunch of damage. And again, I'm just going to miss out, I think, on, actually no, S-Hawk should hopefully be able to go. I'm hoping that with this, with the haste that Sabo will provide, that S-Hawk goes to the front. Let's see. Perfect. And boom. 1 shot. Thought we'd be able to take out everyone just to make it a little bit easier, but there's no way at this point they can do anything against me to win, so we'll just skip the match really easily. Again, the second match, like, we're not aiming to win this fight. Of course, it's Free Spirit versus their quick team. They do have, let's see who they have. They have, like, the Zoro on there. The Jinbei, yeah, like, not too many, like, it's actually not really a scary quick team, like, it's not like the cross-skilled smoothie team, so it's actually not that crazy, so maybe we'll just stop and just see how things go. If it looks like we are in a good shape and can use a burst, right, we could, but Yeah, let's just skip it, I think. I think in this case, what I was basically waiting for is let's just see if we take all the specials, like what happens. Let's just see if we could take these guys out, and if we can't, we'll probably skip it. Okay, so at this point, like we've taken most of them out, so and we have our Roger Rayleigh Devon ready to go, so might as well just go with the flow. Gonna do an absolute ton of damage there, which is great. We'll love to see that. Again, once Luffy goes, he'll do a bunch of damage. Otama can hopefully heal Luffy back, even though it looks like we're probably going to miss out on her going this round. But Nami and Karina will just do a special rewind, so there's really nothing that they can do at that point. So yeah, at this point we should be able to easily get the second win of the match, as well as the second win of the day, and bring us, you know, up to 11 out of 11, which is obviously a great thing to be at. So yeah, let's go ahead and just skip the rest of that match. Boom, boom, 2 wins, 11 total wins for this GP season, which is great. So let's get into the final match of day 4 and see what we got. So for the final match of the day, you know, obviously it gets a lot tougher. You can only see one team. I don't know where the DEX team is in those 2 bottom teams. So because I know the first team here is a DEX team, I'm just going to fight this guy. Obviously, I forget exactly what the Zoro special ability is. I think he does some damage through defense, something like that. But it shouldn't be too bad. Of course, you have the Pizarro unit on here, so it makes this team a little bit bulkier, so it's a little bit of more of a pain to deal with. But still, with the ability of us to do a -5 CT to them because of the buggy unit there, we should be able to get our Jack, our Kuma, and our Luffy off before they go, and at that point, like, we can pretty much take out the whole front line. I don't know what the condition is for that Zoro to get his gauge charged. I don't know if it's damage taken versus damage that they do. So we'll have to see, and just kind of go from there. Boom, Kuma comes out. Luckily for us, the backbench hasn't come in, which is perfect because we want to have our Luffy go and just take out everyone else. Kobe's going to do his thing here, give some CT, and hopefully he'll boost the Luffy back to the front of the line. We'll see. No, he actually pushed him down to the 2 guys who weren't ready. So that was kind of a pain. But you can see, like, once Luffy goes, like, he took out 4 of those units pretty much himself. Again, if Jack would have went first, that would have been a lot more helpful. He didn't. It is what it is. But still, we're able to get that first match done with the type advantage. We took some damage, but we didn't get our burst gauge charged that far. So we don't know what the second or third team is. So I want to try to end it early, which is why I had this team ready to go, the INT team. Unfortunately for us, it would have been so much better if we had our burst gauge already. Just because then we would have been able to use it right away. You can see, like, it gets charged almost all the way, but there's still that kind of scary moment where you're like, uh-oh, is this gonna get charged before they get their specials off, right? Because the strength team can just do an absolute crazy amount of damage once they get their specials off, as you just saw in the previous match. And what this basically allows us to do is basically go in and you know, take out at least a unit or 2 before they even start to going. The Blackbeard does a little bit of special rewind as well as the damage over time. And you can see our S-Hawk is pretty much ready. He should be able to take out 2 units himself because that special just absolutely decimated them. Yeah, and it just neuters that whole strength team. So that's why whenever I try to go into these fights, I try to have 1 burst if I know there's probably going to be a strength team. Because with that 1 burst, you can pretty much take them, that whole front line out in 1 shot, make it a lot easier. And there you go. You can see we were able to pretty easily get through that second match with the INT team and get the 12 out of 12 wins. So that will wrap up day number 4. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it's a long one because we have a lot of GP battles that I haven't had a chance to do daily videos. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this. You see the strategy. Make sure you use the community strategy and change your leader at the end of the day. Help everyone get to 15 out of 15 wins. And I will have a video tomorrow out that will have you know, the results of the day 5 matches, the final day. So let me know in the comments below, like, how your GP season's going so far. Do you like the new units? You know, have you been surprised by anything in the season? We'd love to hear from you guys. And as always, until next time, be kind to each other. Thanks.